Nancy Pelosi seeks to be the Speaker of the House in 2021. Mitch McConnell says more stimulus is coming, and we still have no idea who the President of the United States will be. Hello and welcome to today's November 6th second stimulus check update and second stimulus package update. I apologize for this late update. I have been on back-to-back phone calls helping people move their money, and I've almost lost my voice, but I said I would come on and do an update, and I wanted to be true to my community. Okay, now Representative Axney said all the suffering families are going through now could have been avoided if we had acted sooner. So she wrote a letter to Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi saying that it is time to get a deal done, while Nancy Pelosi wrote a letter today asking her Democrat cohorts to please make her the Speaker of the House one more time. Okay, now, if you remember, about a month ago and 2 months ago, Representative Axney, who is a Democrat, wrote a public letter to Nancy Pelosi begging her to get a deal done. That letter was unanswered, and she was told that she didn't know what she was talking about and to stay out of the negotiations. She then sent another letter off where she said, "The American people need help. Please do not wait until after the election." This is the same Axney who pointed out that there was too much pork in the HEROES Act, and that by throwing in all this extra money for pet projects, this is the reason that you failed to persuade Republicans to do a deal this summer. So she was the first Democrat to really call out her own party and say that this deal was not going to get done, and to call out her party and say this needs to be done before the election. Now, Axney has written a third letter to Pelosi publicly saying it is time to get a deal done. And to my knowledge, this is the first time that Representative Axney also included her letter to Majority Leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell. So it seems that Representative Axney is trying to break apart the bad feelings between the two parties. She's also trying to reach across the aisle and work together for the good of the American people. I just wish I could hug Representative Axney right now. Okay, now lastly, Axney pointed out that with all the campaigning done and over with, there should be no more distraction from helping the American people. Okay, now, as I've been doing my research today in between appointments, next week could be a very good week for stimulus. It could also be a very revealing week for stimulus. It would be good if the Democrats and the Republicans could come together and strike a deal with stimulus checks, with the senators now coming back to Washington, D.C., eager to get a deal done. They are saying that their highest priority is to get a deal done. Now, how long will it take for them to get a deal done? At this point, we don't know. But as of a week ago, they didn't want to do a deal, and they had put it on hold until after the election. With the election over, within just 2 days of the election being over, they are saying it's now time to get a stimulus deal done. So that's very good news. What would be bad is if they decided that it would be more appropriate to wait until 2021. Now, Pelosi, you will remember, was anticipating a blue wave. She said it was the only idea that she could hold in her mind last week. Instead, the Democrats ended up losing 8 seats in the House, losing some of that leverage and momentum that she was carrying in holding out for her $2.2 trillion deal. Now, we may have to wait until next year because many fear that President Trump will not want to finish up the last couple months of his presidency by adding another $2 trillion of debt to his name. If he were to continue as the president, he is okay with adding that debt. But if he is going to lose that position, then he might want Joe Biden to start his presidency with that debt so that he can exit without all that debt attached to his name. At this point, we don't know who the president of the United States is going to be going forward. Depending on which news station you watch, it'll be Trump. If you watch a different news station, it'll be Biden. So I'm not here to say who it's going to be. I'm prepared to accept the results so long as there's no shenanigans or illegal fraud or anything going on. If you won, right? And let's move on as a country. But the other issue that will be interesting to watch next week is the fact that the unemployment numbers just came in at around 6.9%. Now, it was believed and projected by the Federal Reserve that we would not see unemployment under 10% until 2021, and that they did not expect to see it in the 6% range until maybe the end of 2021. So we are almost a year ahead of schedule of what was predicted. So that could play a role in whether we see a $2.2 trillion deal as proposed by Nancy Pelosi, or if we see something smaller. Now, I know that there are many in the community that are hurting and would benefit from this money, but they are going to use this data when making a decision. So I'm just making you aware of it. I'm not giving an opinion on what they will or will not do, but this is going to be a factor. Also, with the third quarter GDP coming in at a record high of 33.1%, many Republicans are going to say, you see, we told you you didn't need a $2.2 trillion deal. Let's do something smaller on all the points of data that we agree on. But we will see. We will see what comes out of it. So with lower unemployment and a record GDP, the Senate will have some leverage when it comes to negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and her $2.2 trillion offer. From what I'm seeing, I fully expect Pelosi to stick to her number, and I also expect Republican senators to push for a smaller number. That just seems to be the trend, right? So we will see next week. There's going to be a lot of good information that comes out, and I will be here to report that to you. However, most people in Congress see that there is a need for stimulus. However, they are using the word targeted, which means they are going to want to push money towards very specific parts of the country. Now, make sure to catch my video that I did earlier today. At the end of my video, I'll put it right here. But I share some really important insight from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell about the economy. Now, starting Monday, the Senate will be back in Washington, D.C. According to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and others, getting a stimulus deal done is the highest priority of the Senate. So that's good to hear them say that. Before the election, Steve Mnuchin started seeking counsel and input from the Problem Solvers Committee. Nancy Pelosi chastised him, saying that this was a waste of time, but I fully expect him to continue to work with Democrat Representative Gottheimer from New Jersey to figure out what is an appropriate bill and number to present to Pelosi that Pelosi will agree to and that the Senate will agree to. So it looks like Mnuchin is now trying to understand Pelosi's thinking by going to the Problem Solvers caucus. One of my worries is that, and I want to share this with my community, is I am reading about how the Democrats may want to even wait until next year to do a deal because there is a chance that they could control the Senate. Georgia is going to have what's called a runoff election, and if they win that, they could control the Senate, and try to push through the $3.4 trillion HEROES Act. I'm hoping and praying that they don't wait that long. Like, if more stimulus needs to be done in 2021, address it in 2021, but let's get a deal done now. My other worry is that the $1.9 trillion deal that the Republicans worked on for almost 60 days may now be considered too high with the new unemployment data and the new record-setting GDP number. But again, we won't know until next week. If there's any good news going into the weekend, it's that the Republican Senate is saying that there is a need for more stimulus and that it is their highest priority. That is my update for today. As I know more, I will share more, but I said I would come on here. I'm glad that my throat held out. Make sure to check out that video that I did from Jerome Powell. I want to wish you a good weekend, or at least the best weekend that you can have. I know some in the community are really struggling, and my heart goes out to you. I want to just remind you that you are amazing. I appreciate you being in my community. Unless something major comes out, I probably won't do another stimulus update until Monday. So I will see you on the next video.